The palace of living crystal shimmered beneath the twin suns of Valtheris Prime. Its towers usually sang with harmonic light. On this day, the music had fallen silent. Queen Aerith lay at the center of the Hall of Radiance. Her body rested upon a cradle woven from pure energy. The glow that defined her species had faded to a weak, unsteady pulse. Silver veins across her translucent skin flickered and dimmed like dying stars. Around her stood the high circle of the luminary court, tall beings of prismatic light shifted in agitation. They had bent gravity to their will. They had drawn power from stellar winds. They had cured 1,000 plagues. Yet they could not stop their queen from fading. Her resonance with the planetary core was failing. Every luminary was born linked to the deep harmonic song of Valtheris Prime. The queen, more than any other, she was the anchor of that song. If she vanished, the balance of the world would fracture. At the edge of the chamber stood a single solid figure, a human doctor. Elias Morgan of the United Nations Interstellar Coalition watched in silence. His body seemed small and dense compared to the luminous forms around him. He wore a simple field suit and carried a narrow case of instruments. No glowing aura surrounded him, no visible power. The luminaries had invited one human advisor as a gesture of alliance, a symbolic exchange between ancient light and young flesh. No one expected him to matter. Archon Self turned toward the human. Your species studies adaptation, he said. Can you explain why our sovereign dims? Elias stepped forward slowly. May I examine her? A ripple of disapproval moved through the court. She is composed of refined energy. You are bound by carbon and water. Your touch may disrupt her lattice. Elias met their shifting gaze. Life follows patterns, he said. Different forms still obey rules. Let me try. The queen stirred faintly. Her dim eyes opened. Let him. Her voice was fragile but clear. The court fell silent. Elias approached the cradle. Up close he saw the instability. Clearly her light was not extinguishing. It was falling out of rhythm. Her cellular matrix misfired like an orchestra without a conductor. He opened his case. Inside were tools the luminaries considered primitive: a portable magnetic field generator, bioscanners, adaptive stem cultures, suspended in gel, devices built by a species that survived by repairing itself. Again and again he scanned her field. Data streamed across his wrist. Display the problem revealed itself in patterns of interference. Weeks earlier, Valtheris Prime had suffered tectonic upheaval. Its planetary resonance had shifted. Every luminary could adapt slowly, but the queen was tuned to the former frequency. She was bound too tightly to the old song. Your world changed, he said quietly. She did not self-brightened with tension. The planetary core altered its harmonic signature. We believed her strength would stabilize it. Instead, it destabilized her, Elias replied. He placed small emitters around the cradle. I will recreate the previous resonance. Give her a stable pattern to follow. You presume much self, said. I do, Elias answered. He activated the magnetic generator. A low hum filled the chamber. The air trembled. The queen's veins flared bright, then flickered. The court shifted in alarm. It is harming her weight, Elias said. He adjusted amplitude and frequency carefully. Human science was young but relentless. On Earth's hearts lost rhythm brains, misfired cells, mutated humans survived by forcing broken systems back into pattern. The queen's body responded, yet slipped each cycle. The field was close but imperfect. She needed a bridge. Elias removed a vial from his case. Within it floated engineered human stem cells, modified to adapt, rapidly programmed to respond to magnetic cues. Self recoiled. You would place your flesh within our sovereign. Only briefly, Elias said. They will not replace her. They will help her synchronize. He injected a minute dose into her bloodstream. For a breath, nothing happened. Then light erupted from her body. Blinding white energy surged across the hall. Several counselors staggered. The harmonic shock rang like a struck bell. Elias held steady inside her body. Most of the foreign cells died. Instantly, luminary chemistry was hostile to them, but some endured. They latched onto unstable cells and began translating the magnetic rhythm. They acted as conductors in a living circuit. Elias adjusted the field again. The hybrid clusters amplified. The signal, the Queen's breathing, steadied. A faint tone escaped her lips, weak at first, then stronger. The sound aligned with the magnetic pattern. A feedback loop formed. Her own voice reinforced the imposed rhythm. Chaos across her skin smoothed into flowing streams of light gray, faded to pale silver, then to radiant blue. The generator flickered as her natural resonance began to dominate. Elias reduced the external field slowly. He did not want her dependent on it. Minutes stretched. The entire palace held its breath. Queen Aerith opened her eyes. Fully they burned like newborn suns. She rose from the cradle. Energy cascaded from her form in controlled waves. The chamber brightened as if dawn had broken indoors. The luminary court bowed deeply. Selth's voice trembled. "My queen, you return to us." She looked at her hands. Light danced across her fingers in vibrant spirals. She turned toward Elias. "You altered the rhythm," she said. "I reminded it," he answered. "You placed part of your own life within mine." "A temporary bridge," he said. "Your body will purge the remnants soon. Why risk corruption of your essence?" "Because you asked me to try." Silence followed. Then a sound, none expected. The Queen laughed, clear ringing laughter that echoed against crystal walls. The court slowly rose. Awe replaced doubt. "You are fragile," Selth said to Elias. "Your bodies fail easily. Your lifespan is brief. Yet you recalibrated, a sovereign of living light." Elias shrugged lightly. "We fail often. That forces us to learn repair." Queen Aerith stepped forward. The cradle dissolved behind her. "My bond to this planet was rigid," she said. "When its song shifted, I resisted. You showed me flexibility." Outside the palace, citizens felt the surge waves of stable resonance spread across Valtheris. Prime crystalline towers, brightened sky currents aligned. The tectonic song harmonized with the Queen's new frequency instead of forcing the world back to its old state. She had adapted to the new one. In the days that followed, luminary scientists studied the data Elias shared. They discovered that the brief hybridization had left subtle changes. The Queen now possessed adaptive bandwidth. She could adjust to minor planetary shifts without destabilizing a trait once believed unnecessary for beings of light. Alliance between the two species deepened. Human colonies gained access to refined energy matrices. Luminary researchers adopted magnetic resonance medicine. Joint academies formed where light and flesh studied side by side. Yet the story, most often repeated across the stars, remained simple. When the Queen was dying and the greatest luminous minds stood helpless, a human with crude tools and stubborn resolve stepped forward. He did not overpower their science. He did not claim superiority. He listened, he calculated, he adapted. Years later, another tectonic surge shook Valthoris Prime. The planetary frequency wavered. Citizens felt fear rise. The Queen closed her eyes. She shifted her internal resonance smoothly. Within moments, the world stabilized. No crisis followed. At a summit attended by dozens of civilizations, she addressed the gathered delegates. "We once believed ourselves constant," she said. "We believed purity meant unchanging brilliance. We were wrong. Light must bend or it breaks. A human taught us that truth." Elias stood among representatives of distant systems. Age had traced silver through his hair. He felt every gaze turn toward him. He shifted with mild discomfort. He had only followed evidence, only applied the logic of survival. Yet across the galaxy, a new understanding of humanity had taken root. Not the strongest, not the oldest, not the most advanced, but the ones who endure disruption, the ones who repair what fails, the ones who adapt when perfection fractures. On Valtheris Prime, the palace once again sang with harmonic radiance. Its music carried a subtle variation, now a flexibility woven into its core, a reminder that survival is not about remaining unchanged. It is about learning the new rhythm and daring to follow it. Asterisk.